So this is Commodore V364 in 2 minutes. This is a board that I acquired last weekend at the Vintage Computer Festival East 9.1 in Wall Township, New Jersey, and this was Bil Herd's development board, which he used to do the demonstration of the V364 to Kmart back in early 1984. So I've been working on it today and have made some progress with getting it working. There was a few problems with it. The 7406 inverter was dead, which was stopping the machine resetting successfully. The 74LS27, which is a tri-input NOR gate, was also dead. And most of the RAM chips were also dead, which you can see them here. So we've replaced all of the RAMs, the 2 TTL chips. You'll see there's a few gaps on the board where things that are missing. That's the 6551 ACAI, which I haven't got as far as testing yet. I do have it. It's sitting just there. There's a 6529 missing for the user port, which I can put in and try later. You'll notice there's a lot of spare slots along the where the ROMs are. That's normal for a 364. Just going along from right to left, we have the normal 264 series PLA, which is the 251-64102. There would be the normal option ROMs, so we could take the 3-in-1 software that you normally find in a +4, put it in there, and it should work quite happily. This is the kernel and basic, respectively. These are very similar to the version 1 ROMs that are commonly found floating around. There is a couple of minor differences. The basic one looks like it came from just before the version 1 because there's a bug bin fixed in it which initializes the random number seeds correctly, which is not present in this one here, which is in 318-00601. The kernel is basically 318-00401 but patched for NTSC. So it's very similar to the common NTSC versions of the kernel, but it doesn't have all of the revisions that that were introduced in the version 3, 4 and 5 ROMs, but it's very similar. That is the speech ROM that contains the vocabulary for the T6721A, which we can see up here. This is the same one that's found on Zimmer's. It's identical. I've compared the hex dumps of them. And that sits in the low ROM space, so that's the matching high ROM thing, so space, so there's nothing there. And this is the gate array. That's basically the interface between the operating system and the speech chip. This isn't the 8706, which is found on the other couple of 364 boards that are known. This one is actually a US 7703. I don't know anything about what the history is here, and I don't know whether this board I'm assuming this board probably predates the ones owned by Dan Benson and Bo Zimmerman. And I'm guessing that this one is probably an initial version of the 8706. If I flip the board over, there is a little bit of reworking on the back. I've got the cords in, so you might be able to see that. I didn't want to unplug the cords while I'm trying to hold the camera as well. Yeah, as I said, there's the common speech chip. The TED revision in here is a 7360 R7 with an NTSC crystal, and the common 7501 R1 CPU. So one of the interesting things on this board is the single port interface chip, the 6529, which drives the keyboard. The way the keyboard polling works on the 264 series is that the kernel writes values to the 6529, they go through the keyboard matrix and back via into the TED into the 8-bit latch. Now the 6529 is a standard component on all the 264 machines, and the chip select for it is mapped into the PLA, but on this particular board it looks like it's been retrofitted. If we take a look at the back of the board where the 6529 sits, those 16 pins there clearly are not meant to accept a dual inline package, i.e. the 6529. It almost looks like there was intended to be passive components on there. So the 6529 itself has been dead bugged onto the board. The other links that you can see on here basically provide the plus 5 volts, which is just here. The ground, which is here. Actually, no, I think I've got them the wrong way around. That one's the ground. That one's plus 5 volts. This link over here is providing the read-write line from the CPU, and this line here is the actual chip select signal from the PLA. So the board to some degree is intended on accepting 6529, and the very fact that it exposes the chip select for it. But so quite why it's been dead bugged onto here, and why it obviously isn't a dual inline package on this board is a bit of a mystery. I spoke to Bil Herd last night, and then he doesn't recall the addition of the 6529 for driving the keyboard was something that was added during the development of the TED architecture, because Bill tells a story about how it used to interfere with the keyboard and joystick reading and wrapping a cable around the yoke of a monitor. So, and which is basically why this is added. But whether this board predates that, I think, is unlikely. So, don't know. Bit of a mystery. Okay, so let's turn it on and see what happens. Alright, here goes. And we're on. And look at that. We have a picture. Commodore Basic V3.5 60671 bytes free. That looks pretty successful. So let's see if we can make it say something. Right, I've put a +4 keyboard on here instead of the 116 one because it's a bit easier to type on. So, alright, let's see how we go. Let's get rid of that. Right, so that looks pretty successful, don't you think? Right, so I've got, you see, I've got one of Jim Brain's UIECs over there with my +4 keyboard. Load file browser. Now, the reason I'm doing 8+2 is because the 0 key doesn't work on this keyboard. It's actually hooked up to device 10. Okay, so we'll browse to my 264 folder, and here's one I've prepared earlier, and we'll run this, but let's make sure we've got a bit of volume so we can hear this on the camera. And away
I am the Commodore V364. I can say purple.
So, you may be wondering what the point of that last sentence is. So, in one of the many fabulous stories that Bill tells, is that when they first heard the speech from this thing, that it couldn't say the word purple, and it came out as Gurple. So I'll leave it for the audience to decide what they think that comes out as, but I don't actually think that's too bad. That sounds quite like purple to me.
I am the Commodore V364. I can say purple.
Gurple? Purple? You decide. So let's hear what the vocabulary actually is. A small basic program, written to avoid the fact that the 0 key doesn't work on this keyboard. There's 261 words in the vocabulary of the 364 ROM, so let's hear what they sound like.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 100, 1,000, million, teen, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Add, subtract, divide, divided, equals, less, minus, more, number, plus, remainder, is, at, when, as, time, apostrophe, word, s, in. All, me, my, that, there, this, what, which, who, your, answer, Commodore, end, point, thing, question, term, am, are, be, can, correct, did, do, does, done, find, get, have, help, is, know, like, present, read, say, see, start, step, use, wait, one, was, one, right, here, time, how, there, to, where, why, of, and, as, but, by, for, from, if, in, large, next, not, of, on, or, ready, same, then, the, not, then, to, until, with, very, by, time, please, think, yes, bad, good, sorry, wrong, after, most, because, no, of, send, talk, any, each, enter, error, many, every, again, now, small, terrific, try, letter, first, second, third, color, pink, black, white, red, cyan, purple, green, blue, yellow, orange, brown, light, he, our, she, we, you, come, give, good, set, take, were, may, over, dark, command, computer, control, cursor, disk, down, game, key, left, load, name, pen, play, press, program, write, run, save, side, stop, symbol, tape, up, wait, angle, draw, circle, degrees, square, triangle, hour, press, dot, back, block, hide, repeat, forward, link, list, go, clear, file, go, give, look, problem, sound, them, things.
So let's try running another demo. Again, 264 folder, demos. Now, annoyingly, most of the classic demos for the 264 series are PAL based, because that's where most of the scene was, or still is in fact. But this machine is currently set up for NTSC. At some point in the future, if I find a suitable case for it, I might convert it to PAL, which will involve basically just a different kernel and a different crystal. Right, let's try Cyan Cat. How cool is that? A Commodore 364 playing Cyan Cat. So let's try running a couple of games. Let's try recently written game for the 264 series, 2048. I'm not going to try using the keyboard because I won't be able to hold it. Looks like it works pretty well to me. Dope.